The interior corridors were barely recognizable. Walls curved in impossible directions, surfaces glowed with soft bioluminescence, and the air itself seemed alive with potential energy. Dr. Chen met her at what had once been the main airlock. The ship is now partly organic, Chen explained as they walked through passages that seemed to reshape themselves around their movement. The Guardian technology doesn't just use matter, it partners with it. The Harmony isn't just our vessel anymore, it's part of our collective consciousness. They entered what Elena assumed was the bridge, though it bore no resemblance to any command center she'd ever seen. Instead of consoles and screens, the room was filled with flowing surfaces that responded to touch and thought. Other crew members moved through the space, and Elena could see they had all undergone the same transformation as Chen. They moved with perfect coordination, as if sharing a single mind. How many survived? Elena asked. All 3,000, Chen replied. Death has become temporary for us. The Guardian technology can rebuild us as long as some essence remains. We learned this during our trials. Elena stared at him. Trials. The Guardians don't simply give their gifts. We had to prove ourselves worthy. For 3 years, we faced challenges that pushed us beyond every human limit. We died, we were reborn, we learned, we grew. The process forged us into something the galaxy has never seen before. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected movement at the edge of the solar system. The wall became transparent, showing space beyond, and Elena gasped as she saw the Zephyrian scout fleet dropping out of hyperspace. They're early, Chen said grimly. Captain, you need to see what we've become. The first test. The Zephyrian scout fleet consisted of 12 warships, each one capable of destroying entire cities. They moved in perfect formation toward Earth, their weapons already charging for bombardment. Elena watched from the Harmony's bridge as Earth's defense fleet scrambled to intercept. Our ships won't stand a chance, Elena whispered. Chen placed a hand on what Elena realized was the ship's control interface. Watch and learn, Captain. The Harmony moved like liquid lightning, accelerating to speeds that should have turned every person aboard into paste. Yet Elena felt only a gentle acceleration, as if the ship itself was protecting her. In seconds, they positioned themselves between the Zephyrian fleet and Earth. This is Commander Crix of the Imperial Advance Guard. A harsh voice echoed through the bridge. Surrender immediately, or face complete annihilation. Chen's response was calm but carried an undertone of absolute authority. This is Dr. James Chen of the transformed vessel Harmony. You will withdraw from this system immediately. Harsh laughter came through the communication channel. Your primitive species will. The laughter cut off as the Harmony's true nature revealed itself. The ship began to change, its hull flowing and expanding, surfaces that had appeared solid becoming transparent to reveal complex energy patterns within. What had seemed like a single vessel suddenly became something that defied conventional understanding of matter and space. The Zephyrian fleet opened fire, lance beams of energy that could vaporize mountains, striking the Harmony with devastating force. Elena braced for impact, but nothing happened. The energy simply vanished, absorbed into the ship's structure, and converted into something else entirely. Impossible. Commander Crix's voice carried a note of fear for the first time. Chen smiled, and Elena saw starlight dancing in his eyes. Commander, you've never encountered Guardian technology before. Allow me to demonstrate why the ancients chose humanity. The Harmony pulsed once, a ripple of energy extending outward at light speed. When it reached the Zephyrian fleet, their ships simply stopped. Weapons powered down, engines went silent, life support flickered to emergency levels. We could destroy you, Chen said conversationally. The Guardian technology makes it trivially easy, but destruction isn't humanity's way. You have 10 minutes to withdraw before we disable your ships permanently. Tell your empire that Earth is under Guardian protection now. Elena watched in amazement as the proud Zephyrian fleet turned and flew into hyperspace without firing another shot. The Council's decision. Back on Earth, Alina stood before the Defense Council in emergency session. Admiral Torres paced behind the conference table, while other council members argued in heated whispers. The return. The impossible signal. Captain Alina Vasquez stood frozen in Earth Defense Command's Central Operations Room, staring at the holographic display that showed something impossible. The signal signature was unmistakable, yet it couldn't be real. 12 years had passed since the UES Harmony vanished during humanity's first deep space colonization mission. The ship and its 3,000 souls had been declared lost, presumed destroyed during their encounter with the Zephyrian Empire. "Confirm the source again," Alina ordered, her voice steady despite the hammering of her heart. Lieutenant Morrison's fingers danced across his console. "Signal originates from Sector 77 Alpha, Captain. It's definitely the Harmony's emergency beacon, but the encryption is different, more complex than anything in our databases." Admiral Torres burst into the command center, his weathered face grim. "Vasquez, tell me this isn't some Zephyrian trick." Alina turned to face her superior officer. "Sir, the quantum signature matches perfectly. This is our ship, but something's wrong. The beacon should have degraded after 12 years in deep space. This signal is stronger than when the Harmony first launched." The massive wall display flickered, showing the outer edge of the solar system. A single dot appeared, moving steadily toward Earth at impossible speeds. No known human technology could achieve such velocity. "Time to intercept?" Torres asked. 6 hours at current approach speed," Morrison reported. "Sir, the ship's configuration doesn't match our records. The hull appears to have been completely redesigned." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. Whatever was coming toward Earth bore the Harmony signature, but it wasn't the same vessel that had left 13 years ago, filled with hope and dreams of establishing humanity's first interstellar colony. The transformed vessel. 4 hours later, the object that had once been the UES Harmony settled into Earth orbit like a predator claiming territory. Alina watched from the bridge of the defense station as the transformed vessel hung motionless against the star field. Where once stood a cylindrical colony ship designed for long-term space travel, now floated something that defied human engineering principles. The hull gleamed with an organic-looking surface that seemed to pulse with inner light. Structures that resembled both technology and living tissue extended from the main body, creating patterns too complex for the human eye to fully process. Yet somehow, Alina knew this was definitely their lost ship. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Communications Officer Davis announced. On screen, the face that appeared on the main display made Alina's breath catch. Dr. James Chen had been the Harmony's chief scientist, a brilliant researcher who had volunteered for the colony mission to study alien life forms. But the man looking back at her now was both Chen and something more. His eyes held depths of knowledge that seemed impossible for any human mind to contain, and strange patterns of light flickered beneath his skin. "Captain Vasquez," Chen said, his voice carrying harmonics that resonated strangely in the command center. "I apologize for the dramatic return, but circumstances have forced our hand. Earth is in immediate danger." "Dr. Chen, what happened to you? What happened to the Harmony?" Chen's expression grew solemn. "We encountered something far beyond what we expected. The Zephyrian Empire was the least of our concerns. There are older powers in the galaxy, Captain. Ancient guardians who have been waiting for species worthy of their knowledge. We were tested, and we survived, but the process changed us." Torres stepped forward. "Changed how? Are you still human?" "We are more than human now, Admiral. We had to become more to survive what's coming. The Zephyrians aren't just expanding their empire for resources or territory. They're fleeing something, and now they've marked Earth as their final refuge. They intend to eliminate humanity entirely and claim our world." Alina felt the weight of command settling on her shoulders. "How long do we have?" "Their advance fleet will arrive within 72 hours. Their main force follows 6 days behind. Captain, I need you to understand something crucial. What we've become, What the Harmony has become, it's humanity's only chance of survival. But we need your trust. The demonstration. 20 minutes later, Alina found herself in a shuttle approaching the transformed Harmony. Despite Torres's objections, she had insisted on boarding the vessel personally. As the shuttle passed through what appeared to be a solid hull, Alina realized the ship's exterior was more like a membrane than traditional armor. "The question before us is simple," Torres announced. "Are Chen and his people still human, or have they become something else entirely? Can we trust them to protect Earth, or are we simply trading one alien threat for another?" Alina stepped forward. "With respect, Admiral, that's the wrong question. The right question is whether we can afford not to trust them. I've seen what they're capable of. They could have taken control of Earth already if that was their intention. Instead, they're offering to defend us." Councillor Park, the civilian representative, leaned forward. "Captain Vasquez, you saw how they've changed. Can we be certain they still have humanity's best interests at heart?" "I spoke with Dr. Chen for hours during the return journey," Alina replied. "Beneath all the changes, all the new abilities, he's still the man who volunteered to leave Earth to help establish our first colony. They've gained incredible power, yes, but they've also retained their humanity. If anything, their experiences have made them more protective of human life, not less." Torres stopped pacing. "The Zephyrian main fleet will arrive in 5 days. Our conventional forces won't last an hour against them. If Chen and his people are our only hope, then we need to make a decision now." The vote was close, but pragmatism won over fear. Earth would accept the protection of the transformed humans, whatever they had become. As Alina left the council chambers, she looked up at the night sky where the Harmony waited in orbit. Humanity was about to face its greatest test, and their survival depended on people who had transcended human limitations while somehow remaining human in their hearts. The next few days would determine whether humanity's greatest strength was its ability to remain unchanged in the face of adversity, or its capacity to evolve and adapt when survival demanded it. The Phoenix rises. The invasion fleet. The Zephyrian Imperial fleet dropped out of hyperspace like a plague of locusts, their massive ships blotting out stars as they formed battle lines. Alina stood in Earth Defense Command watching displays that showed the true scope of the threat. Over 300 warships, including 5 massive dreadnoughts capable of cracking planets, had come to claim Earth as the Empire's new homeworld. "Dear God," Admiral Torres whispered, "intelligence estimates were completely wrong. This isn't just an invasion force, it's their entire fleet." Alina keyed her communicator. "Dr. Chen, please tell me you expected this." Chen's voice came through clearly from the Harmony. "We knew they would commit everything, Captain. The Zephyrians aren't just fleeing their old territories, they're making their final stand. Earth represents their last chance at survival, which makes them desperate and extremely dangerous." Through the command center's massive viewing port, Alina could see the transformed Harmony positioning itself between Earth and the approaching Armada. The single ship looked impossibly small against the wall of alien vessels moving toward them. How can one ship, no matter how advanced, stand against that entire fleet? Torres demanded. Chen's reply carried a note of something Alina hadn't heard before. Excitement. "Admiral, you're still thinking in terms of conventional warfare. What we've become, what the Guardian technology has taught us, transcends such limitations. But I need you to understand something crucial about the choice we made. The Guardian legacy." Alina found herself back aboard the Harmony, this time accompanied by Admiral Torres and a small team of Earth's top scientists. Chen led them to a chamber deep within the ship that pulsed with energies Alina's instruments couldn't even classify. 12 years ago, when we first encountered the Zephyrian Empire, we thought we were facing humanity's first contact with hostile aliens, Chen began. But the Zephyrians were refugees, fleeing from something that had consumed their original homeworld. In their desperation, they attacked us, seeing humans as primitive obstacles to their survival. The chamber around them shifted, walls becoming transparent to reveal the cosmic void beyond. But instead of empty space, Alina saw patterns of light and energy stretching between stars like a vast neural network. The Guardians built this network millions of years ago, Chen continued. They were the first species to achieve true transcendence, moving beyond physical existence into something greater. But they didn't abandon the physical universe. Instead, they created tests, challenges for younger species to overcome. Dr. Sarah Kim, Earth's leading xenobiologist, stepped closer to examine the energy patterns. The transformations you've undergone, they're not random mutations. They're guided evolution. Chen nodded. The Guardians believe that a species' response to existential crisis reveals their true nature. Some species, like the Zephyrians, become predators when threatened. They see other life as obstacles to overcome. But humanity, we chose differently. Torres frowned. What do you mean? When faced with tests that should have destroyed us, we chose to sacrifice for each other. When given power that could corrupt us, we chose to remain protective of life. The Guardian technology doesn't just enhance abilities, Admiral. It amplifies the fundamental nature of a species. In humanity's case, it amplifies our capacity for cooperation, self-sacrifice, and growth. Elena felt a chill of understanding. That's why they're afraid of you. Not just because of the technology, but because of what humanity became when we gained access to it. The battle begins. The Zephyrian fleet opened fire with everything they had. Lance beams capable of piercing planetary crusts, plasma torpedoes that could vaporize cities, and gravity weapons that could twist space itself, all focused on the single transformed ship protecting Earth. Elena watched from the Harmony's bridge as energies that should have destroyed them simply vanished upon contact with the ship's hull. But this time, she could see what was happening. The Guardian technology wasn't just absorbing the attacks, it was learning from them, analyzing them, and preparing countermeasures. Captain, Chen said softly, what you're about to see represents 12 years of human growth and adaptation. We didn't just survive the Guardian trials. We exceeded their expectations. The Harmony began to change. Its hull flowed like liquid metal, expanding and reshaping itself. But instead of becoming larger, it became more complex, surfaces folding through dimensions Elena's mind couldn't fully grasp. The single ship suddenly occupied multiple positions in space simultaneously. Impossible, Admiral Torres breathed. Not impossible, Chen replied. Inevitable. This is what humanity becomes when we face the ultimate test. The transformed Harmony struck back. Instead of weapons fire, waves of energy rippled outward from the ship. When they reached the Zephyrian fleet, the alien vessels began to malfunction. Not destroyed, but systematically disabled as their own technology turned against them. We're not killing them, Elena realized. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our capacity for violence, Chen explained. It's our ability to find solutions that preserve life while protecting those we care about. The Guardian technology amplifies that instinct. The awakening. As the battle raged in space, something unexpected began happening on Earth. Across the planet, humans were reporting strange dreams, visions of energy patterns, and impossible mathematics. Some began displaying abilities similar to those Chen and his crew had gained, though on a smaller scale. The proximity to active Guardian technology is triggering responses in other humans, Dr. Kim reported from Earth's surface. It's like the entire species is beginning to evolve simultaneously. Elena watched through the ship's sensors as humans around the world began to understand concepts that should have been beyond their comprehension. Engineers grasped energy manipulation principles that could revolutionize technology. Scientists developed intuitive understanding of hyperspace physics. Even children began creating art that seemed to depict Guardian mathematical concepts. This was always the plan, Chen said quietly. The trials weren't just about transforming a few thousand humans. They were about preparing our entire species for what comes next. The Zephyrian fleet, now disabled and drifting, sent a final desperate message. Commander Crix's voice carried no trace of his earlier arrogance. What have you become? Chen's response echoed across all frequencies, reaching not just the Imperial fleet, but every listening post in nearby star systems. We are what humanity chooses to be when faced with extinction. We are cooperation over competition, protection over predation, growth over stagnation. We are the proof that a species can transcend its limitations without losing its soul. The new paradigm. In the days that followed, the transformation of human civilization accelerated at an unprecedented pace. The Guardian technology didn't impose change. It revealed humanity's potential when working in perfect harmony. Cities began restructuring themselves using principles of energy manipulation that made traditional engineering obsolete. Diseases that had plagued humanity for millennia simply ceased to exist as humans learned to guide their own biological processes. The barriers between individual minds began to thin, not through loss of identity, but through expansion of empathy and understanding. Elena stood in what had once been the United Nations building, now transformed into something that served as both a meeting place and a living embodiment of human cooperation. Representatives from every nation worked together, not because they had to, but because the Guardian influence had made them acutely aware of their shared humanity. The Zephyrian Empire has withdrawn from this entire galactic sector, Admiral Torres reported. They're not retreating to regroup. They're fleeing in genuine terror of what we've become. Chen, who now served as humanity's primary liaison with the Guardian network, nodded thoughtfully. Fear was never our goal, but sometimes a demonstration of superior capability is the only way to ensure peace. Elena studied the holographic displays showing human expansion into space. Ships built using Guardian principles were already establishing outposts on distant worlds, not as conquerors but as gardeners, helping to nurture life wherever they found it. What happens now? She asked. Now we take our place among the species that have passed the Guardian trials, Chen replied. We become the teachers for those who come after us, the protectors of worlds that haven't yet learned to protect themselves. Elena smiled, feeling the weight of humanity's new responsibility and the joy of their limitless potential. The species that had once feared the dark between stars had become the light that would guide others safely through the cosmos. The Phoenix ascended. Months later, Elena commanded humanity's first Guardian-enhanced deep space exploration vessel, the Phoenix. As they approached a star system where early human colonies had reported contact with unknown aliens, she reflected on how much had changed. Humanity hadn't lost its essential nature in becoming something greater. If anything, the Guardian transformation had revealed what humans had always been capable of when they worked together toward common goals. The same species that had created art, music, and literature now created harmony between worlds. The same instinct that had driven them to explore beyond Earth now drove them to nurture life throughout the galaxy. Captain, her communications officer reported, we're receiving a distress signal from the fourth planet. Unknown species requesting assistance against Zephyrian raiders. Elena smiled. This was what humanity had become, not conquerors or overlords, but the answer to calls for help across the stars. Set course for the fourth planet, she ordered. Let's show them what it means to have humanity as an ally. As the Phoenix accelerated toward its destination, Elena knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had faced extinction and chosen to become something greater. Now they would help others make the same choice, one world at a time, until the galaxy itself was transformed by the power of cooperation over conquest. The Guardian trials had ended, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning.